Well, then the affair happened when my bank accounts were drained. Two little girls and had to dive in real estate. I remember thinking how am I gonna make this work?
She sold 69 homes in her first year, and she walked away from everything that she built to build something even bigger.
I was tired. I can't do this for 10 more years. The fear of me leaving and failing was easier than the fear of me staying and doing what I had been doing for 10 more years.
68 million in online sales from zero, the pivot, the mindset, and the moves that actually matter when you're ready to stop playing small and start playing at scale. This is X Factor Marketing Podcast. I'm Wendy Forsythe. Let's get into it. She sold 69 homes in her first year in real estate. Then she walked away from everything that she built to build something even bigger. 68 million in online sales from zero in 7 years. Krista Mashore didn't just master real estate. She figured out how to package what she knew, build a digital empire around it, and then teach other entrepreneurs how to do the same thing. Today, she's here to talk about that transition, the pivot, the mindset, and the moves that actually matter when you're ready to stop playing small and start playing at scale. This is X Factor Marketing Podcast. I'm Wendy Forsythe. Let's get into it. Krista, welcome to the show. I'm so delighted that you're here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So let's talk about the pivot. So you were a school teacher, you became a single mom, you got into real estate, you killed it. I said in the intro, sold 69 homes out of the gate, but then you decide you were ready for something bigger. Tell us, how does that all happen?
Well, I was a real estate agent for a producing real estate agent for 17 years, and then top 1%. And at the 17-year mark is when I opened up my my coaching company. But I really love teaching. I'm a teacher at heart, and so I kind of went back to my roots. Instead of teaching kids, I just was teaching real estate. So it's been,
which is kind of like teaching kids, big kids.
Yeah. I mean, you're a teacher even when you're a real estate agent because or a counselor, I should say, right? Because you're counseling, sellers and buyers. I will tell you, real estate, I think, is one of the most challenging careers in a good way. People that aren't in real estate don't understand just how hard real estate agents work, and the level of how many people they're dealing with and how many things that can go wrong. I have such respect for real estate agents.
Yes. So that transition then from top agent into coach and to digital entrepreneur, was it the coaching that happened first or the digital courses, or take us through how that all kind of evolved?
Yeah. So I've always been kind of a marketer. I mean, when I got into real estate, and as you said, I had just, I had two little girls under the age of 4.5, and we had just bought in a brand new house, and my husband at the time had an affair. And so I ended up, I just left my full-time teaching job, and I was going to play real estate because my daughter had gotten really sick. And so I thought, I'll just play real estate. I'll be a stay-at-home mom. Well, then the affair happened. We had just bought in a new house, and within a couple of weeks, my bank accounts were drained. And so I had to dive in real estate. And so I remember thinking how am I going to make this work? And I can tell you, people always ask me how I was able to sell 69 houses my first year, and how I averaged 133 homes every year, thereafter, was that I always tried to just be very different. I looked at what people were doing outside of the real estate industry and said, how can I apply that so that I can be stand out? And that's what I did. So I started marketing really, really early on. So soon as Facebook ads came out, I remember seeing an ad for Nordstrom and an ad for Macy's. And I thought, if Macy's and Nordstrom can advertise on Facebook, I can too. And so I flew down to San Diego, spent $15,000 to learn how to run Facebook ads in a weekend. And then I, started doing video right away, and people were nobody was doing video then. Right. And so it was just I was always trying to be innovative. And I think that any agent can be successful if they can just figure out how to differentiate themselves in a very unique way. And I've always marketing has just been how I've always been able to do that.
That's great. So when you when you got to the point after 17 years as an agent and you said like, okay, now I want to evolve this into teaching others. What happened that led to that evolution for you, that you were like, I want to pivot this now into just not just production for myself, but teaching others how to produce?
I'll tell you, Wendy, it was scary because I was 47 at the time, and the people that love me most, like my mom and dad and my husband, they're like, Krista, you're 47. I think I made about $1.8 million that year. I had sold 154 homes myself as a solo agent the year right before I transitioned into coaching. And so it was scary because I was doing great, financially, and I had a great thriving business, but I wanted more. So I remember being at a Tony Robbins event and reading this book from Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And they were talking about how you have these, successful people have these ideas that come to them, and the successful ones take the calling. And unfortunately for women, a lot of women overthink things, right?
Yes, we do.
They overthink it. They need to have all the answers. They talk themselves out of things. And I remember thinking, and how I made the choice, and this is so bad to say because I love real estate, but I remember that I was tired. Like I'd, been selling for 17 years, well over 100 homes every year. And I didn't realize just how much I worked, even though I didn't work weekends. But I just realized like I can't do this for 10 more years. Right? I'm right. Exhausted, And so I remember thinking the fear of me leaving and failing was easier than the fear of me staying and doing what I had been doing for 10 more years. Cause I didn't think I could handle it. Like it was just so much selling 100 plus homes a year. So I just did it, and it was hard and scary and a lot of crying in the kitchen with my husband, but like big time, like, why did I do this? Like I should have stayed in real estate. But it ended up being, one of the best decisions. I hired a really great coach, who had done the same thing. He had built a coaching business from scratch, joined a mastermind and put myself around like-minded people. Yes. Didn't feel like I belonged in that room either. I mean, I've always kind of struggled with
So let's peel back a few things that you have touched on here that I think are so critical, right? Okay. So you didn't let fear hold you back. You dreamed bigger. You put yourself in rooms with people that could help you hit those next levels, right? And hit those dreams that you had. You hired a coach. Like these are all things that if you want to get to that next level, that's the playbook, right? Like those are the things that you need to do.
Yeah. There's, in the book, Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, he talks about having specialized knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. And also by having a mastermind team. And I just believe it. It's like, I know that anytime I want to do something, I always try to figure out who the best in the world is at it. And then I hire them. Like I've spent almost just under $2 million, honestly, in the past 8 years, hiring the best individuals at marketing, lead generation, conversion, sales. And it's like
you can fast track your learning, right? You can learn from them, and that will fast track your learning and your outcome.
Yep. And because then you know what not to do. It's like you're paying for the time, the experience, the education of that person. Yes. And I mean, I will tell you that I almost put my drive is one thing, but being in the rooms with people, even when I don't feel like I belong, because I never feel like I belong in the rooms, right? I kind of have to work on I'm constantly working on my self-worth kind of things, and I do a good job. The good wolf, I call it, usually wins, but it's still a struggle. Like sometimes I'm like, the self-doubt is always there. And I have to always, stop, snap, and switch and talk myself into.
Okay. Let's stop, snap, and switch.
Yeah.
Tell us about stop, snap, and switch.
So stop, snap, and switch so research shows that we've got anywhere from 40,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Yeah. And most of those thoughts are repetitive and they're negative. And if you think about like the world that we're in, the negativity, right? Negativity sells, fear sells. And so the stopping is stopping and recognizing when you have a negative thought. Yes. And then you snap the bracelet, which I don't have on because I was rushing because my power went out. You snap the bracelet and then you switch it to the other hand and you restate the negative thought. You reframe it, right? Okay. And that is something that I've learned to do really, really well, is like notice what I'm thinking, notice what I'm saying to myself, notice what my self-talk is, and being very, very clear that if it doesn't help me or help somebody else, that I need to change it. And so That's the first part about it. And then,
Yeah.
that is like everything, honestly, because
Okay. So you have a negative thought, you stop, snap the bracelet, then switch it to the other hand to switch the thought and then move forward.
yep. And reframe the thought into a
Reframe the
positive one.
thought. I love it. That's a great takeaway. Great takeaway for everyone. So you have acknowledged that like imposter syndrome, right? Which is really what we're talking about in another phrase. You still battle that.
Oh yeah, I think like a lot of times people will see people that they, whatever their definition of success is,
Success, yes.
and they think that, they're just naturally that way or they have it easy. And I haven't lived at home since I was 13. So, I have a great family now, very close to my mom, but she was physically abusive when I was younger. So when I turned 13, I started running away from home and I ended up like in juvenile hall and then a group home for troubled girls and then in a foster home. And so I always feel the imposter syndrome sneaking in. So that's why I do these mindset strategies. But I think that when, a lot of times successful people have really gone through a lot. They've just learned how to navigate their life and how to change their circumstance. Right? I always say, don't let your finance don't let your circumstance dictate your finance, create it. Right. So people will say like, oh, I'm not good at this because of this, or I can't do this because this happened to me, or I have this flaw or this thing. We all have those things. And even people that you look at that you think are successful, I think deal with stuff, and especially emotional stuff, right? Like I always, you gotta beat the bear, at least I do. I've always had to, it's been a thing for me.
That is, I mean, yes, it's a big thing. And I mean, particularly for women entrepreneurs, like you have built a tremendous business and like we see the accolades and the achievements behind you, but just give us a little bit of a rundown for like how big you've scaled the business.
I went from zero. So no one knew me when I left real estate, right? Everyone knew me locally. I was really good at branding myself locally, but nobody knew me outside of real estate. So I've paid for exposure, right? I call it paying to play, which I teach in real estate too, is like how to build a brand and beat the noise. And so, I wrote books early on, and then I would pay for Facebook ads to get myself out there.
Yes.
So I built a business we just hit the 72 million mark. Obviously that's definitely not all profit. There's a lot of expense that comes in building a business, but I think I've done like, $26 million months where we've done over $1 million in a month in gross sales. And yeah, it's been a ride. I mean, I'll tell you the past couple of years, cause my avatar is real estate agents, right? So, and they are, as 74% of agents haven't sold a home in a year. So it's definitely been hard. I always say there's something really good coming because it's been such a challenge, the past couple of years. Our best year was, I think, 2023. We did 18 million in sales, in like income coming in.
Yes.
With around 10 million of that being profit. And so I'm really glad that I was great about saving my money and, so that I could ride the storm of what's happening now. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's been fun. It's been hard work. I will tell you that. Like I'm definitely a workaholic. That's probably one of my problems is I work too much, but I don't feel like it's work. So it makes it fun for me.
And what has it been like? Like you have built that with no real blueprint, right? Like there hasn't been a playbook for you to follow. You have been creating the playbook as you have been like building it along the way. Yeah. So what are some of the lessons learned as you have been breaking new ground here?
Yeah. So I always say learn, implement, master, repeat, right? So I like to think about when you want a successful business, I always say, how do I identify what's working in my business and how do I do more of that thing that's working? And how do I do it better before I do new? Right. Okay. This is a great lesson for real estate agents too. So it's like, for example, let's just say that an agent would say, I'm really good at an open house. Yes. Okay. So can I do more open houses than just Saturday and Sunday? Can I do them Monday through Sunday? And how can I do better at open houses? What can I do to get more exposure there? How can I get more attention? How can I get more people to walk through the front door? Once they come in through the front door, how can I convert them more? How can I impress sellers and buyers and develop relationships with them and position myself different, right? That's doing better of what you're really good at. So yes. First do more, and then better. So that's what I did in coaching. I've for the past 5 years and 2 months, I have done webinars and a 3-day virtual event every single month.
Every single month.
Every month.
So first you do more, then do better.
Yep. And we're always trying to convert. I call it 8 levers for 8 figures. And I wrote a book on it, actually. People now have used my model of virtual events because we've done so many of them, right? So we're looking at, okay, how do we get more people to the event? How do we get them to actually show up to the event? How do we get them to stay at the event? How do we get them to say yes? I mean, so there's all these different levers, right? Just like pillars of how do I do every phase of that aspect more and better, if that makes sense. So,
and that is such good advice for, you mentioned real estate and gave the example of an open house, but any sort of prospecting, any sort of revenue generating activity for any entrepreneur that applies is whatever revenue generating activity it is. How do you do more of it? And how do you do it better? And if you focus in on what that is and the mechanics of it and do it more and do it better. And then just rinse and repeat that.
And people are always trying to be new, right? Especially now, and there's a massive cost associated with new, because anytime you start something new, typically it takes around a year for something to start working. So there's an opportunity cost, not only on that year, but also on what you're not doing that was already working, right? And then by the time you get that year, okay, now it's kind of working. Well, then it might take another 5 or 6 months for it to start scaling. So you have to really think about that in business. And I think especially right now with AI, right? I am spending 20 plus hours a week on learning AI because it's coming at us so fast and it's so rapid. And I think agents need to be very careful with that too. I think they need to figure out, okay, what constraint do I have in my business? And that's what I can use AI to help me with. Or what am I doing a lot of repetition that I can use AI to help me? And how can I use AI to help me do more and better of what I already know works? And if they can stick to that, they'll be very successful with AI. But I think people need to be careful.
Yes, they do need to be careful. What I've observed is agents often stop doing things that are working in their businesses because they're getting distracted by the new and the shiny. And then they wonder why production goes down.
A good example of that is like those avatars. It's like, do you really need an avatar? It's real estate. People, I know it sounds fun, but people want people, it's one of the highest questions.
Somebody just asked me that yesterday. They asked me about a digital avatar. And I was like, no, you don't need a digital avatar. No, you need you. People want you. They don't want your digital avatar.
Shiny object.
That's right. Shiny object. So if you were just starting to build your brand online, what's one thing you would give advice to somebody that they should be doing this week right now to build their digital brand?
The number one thing people need to do is understand who their avatar is, right? And then they need to create educational, high value content that isn't focused on themselves, but focused on helping their avatar. And as consistently and as much as humanly possible, they need to get their information out there, talking about the desires, the hopes, the fears, the dreams, the wants of that avatar, and creating solutions to that. And that's how I've built every brand that I have done. It's I always think I need to be a marketer. To be a top something, I need to be a top marketer. So I would tell them to create a massive amount of content. I would tell them to skip the glass of wine and to skip the cup of coffee and spend that $7 a day on marketing themselves through some type of digital marketing. I prefer Facebook ads and Instagram ads. And I would learn how to do that so that it was impossible for my avatar not to know who I was, and that they knew who I was before they needed me. I call it being known before needed, so that you can win before you arrive. That is if you do that and you stick to that and you understand the importance of marketing and branding yourself, you cannot fail. It's just a matter of people just give up too soon because they don't see the results, and we all want everything instantaneously. I would just always think branding and differentiation.
Branding and differentiation and being known before you arrive. I think that is so important, because then you can focus on their needs when you arrive and not spend time. I always tell this to agents, you don't want to spend time when you show up in a listing appointment talking all about yourself. You want to spend that time talking about the seller and understanding what they are interested in and what questions they have and what their like needs and desires are. I like, it drives me crazy when agents show up to a listing appointment and like, let me tell you all about me and how great I am. Like, that is the last thing you should be spending that valuable face-to-face time doing.
Oh yeah. They should, all of that should be done before they get there. You know,
Yes.
it's funny. I heard Leo talking about why do all these agents want these boxes? Like everyone said I have to have this, like this listing
box. Yes.
Now I'm the originator of those. So I've been doing listing boxes since, 5-6 years before I even left real estate. And, it's a box. It's got a QR code. It goes to a 12-minute marketing video. Inside the box is like a book for the sellers, or there's access to a seller course. There's marketing plans, guides. It's like everything to differentiate me. So that's what when I say win before you arrive. So when you get there, it's like, wow, no other agents took the time to do it. They're lucky if they even called beforehand. Like I'm telling you, Wendy, I believe that real estate is one of the most profitable careers that anybody can take. Everyone also says that it's very competitive, but because it's so competitive, it's very easy to stand out because most people won't do what it takes to really, really win. But if agents will take the time to learn how to differentiate themselves, learn how to market themselves, learn how to before they even show up, people understand who they are, what's their unique value proposition, what's their unique mechanisms, what makes them different, how they're going to truly serve. By the time they get there, the sellers are and buyers are like, oh my gosh, where do I sign?
Yes. They know all of that.
Yeah. And then you can just talk about them. And so it's really not hard. It's just different, right? Learning to do things different.
Yes. I want to ask you, particularly in coaching and digital products, women are known to underprice and undervalue their products. Mm-hmm. How have you overcome that to move into that premium space and not sort of fall into that trap of underpricing or not believing in the value that you have to offer for the expertise that you're offering and just the extreme value that you have to offer?
I think it comes from being able to generate results, right? Mm-hmm. So when you truly know that first you have to believe in yourself, right? Build the belief, build the mindset and all that. And you build the belief and the mindset and the confidence by doing. Okay. But I think that for me, I am obsessed with people, and I always have a saying, people before things and the things will come. Right. So as long as you take good care of people, and when I was a real estate agent, I knew I was the best in the world at what I did because I studied it like crazy. And I always tried to learn to be the best that I could be. And it was very difficult to beat me. And not because I am anything better than anyone else, but I was really good at learning to how to differentiate myself. And so the same is true now. I know that people get great results. We treat them well. Again, I put people before things. So there's tons of help and support and like a business in a box type of a thing that if you do the work, it's almost impossible to fail. So that's a premium price because of all the support you get. Right. Yes. But I don't know. A lot of it, I think, again, goes back to mindset.
I was just going to say that it goes back to mindset. So let's end talking a little bit about mindset because that is so important. And you have invested so heavily in that. And I'm so excited because I got a little sneak peek at this. You are sharing that in a new book that you're going to be publishing soon called The Thinking Effect. So tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, so I'm super excited about it. So the Stop Snap, my first book was Stop Snap and Switch. This is a sequel to it. So the Thinking Effect probably should have been first, quite honestly, because there's another framework called SNAPS, which I won't get into that. And it aligns really well with Stop, Snap, and Switch. And all it is it teaches you like real tangible tools to learn to get control of your mind and your brain and what you're thinking and saying to yourself. Because once you can get control of that, you can do anything. Yes. And especially women, we're so hard on ourselves.
We are so hard on ourselves. Yeah. But yes, if we can get control of our brain, we can do anything. Between our ears. If we can control that, we can do anything.
Yeah. So that's what the book is about. And it just all science. So it's like all the information in this book, it's not like Krista's rules. It's it's all the research I did from studying from doctors and studies that are out there. And I took it all and put it together in an easier way and I did not even use AI once in this book or in the Thinking Effect. Zero AI. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that too.
Well, I can't wait for it to get out there in the world, and I highly recommend that everyone read it. I'm so excited for it. So, Krista, I got one last question for you. The podcast is called X Factor because I believe we all have an X Factor, that superpower that makes us special. What do you think your X Factor is?
Getting people to believe in themselves is mine. Yeah. I think I was put here to help people just inspire and get them to believe they could do anything.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your X Factor with us. It's been great to sit down and chat with you.
Wendy, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.